Though a torch is not strictly necessary, it would certainly help you find your way through the dimly lit shrine. Your footing is obscured in the dimness of the shrine. You should probably proceed with caution. Though I understand your urge to hurry on ahead. You go forth slowly but steadily, taking it one step at a time. I think you made the right choice. You take a good look at the floor and see it lined in trails of viscous liquid. No doubt a slime or 200 have passed through here. It looks like poor Mr. Flobby is being held captive by the Mystery Man. Hand over that slime, you shout to the man in the dark. You speak as if I kidnapped him, he remarks, curtly turning to face you. When your eyes finally adjust to the surrounding darkness, you realize the man's clothes look eerily similar to Melanie's. Melanie's mouth falls open in surprise. It seems the man has noticed Melanie as well. It looks like the two know each other. According to the man, he and Melanie came from the same village and are far from strangers. The man's revelation makes you realize that you know almost nothing about Melanie's past. You ask her if he is a childhood friend, but she holds her tongue. Then the man speaks. With forbidden magic, our clan has ensured the dragon, he begins, when Melanie cuts in. She rattles on about the man, telling you that he is Vince, a lunatic obsessed with the dragon. Vince resentfully claims that he is searching for the noble dragon to protect it. You ran away from home with your tail between your legs, he ridicules. Enraged, Melanie lunges at Vince. You have so many questions, but realize that the most pressing matter is getting Mr. Flobby back. So you ready for battle? Careful, he won't go down easy. During the fight, Vince asks, "Do you know the truth about that village?" The headman may look like a nice old man, but he keeps those little monsters around too. He begins, but before he can finish, Winifred, Hedwin, and Berwin of the Ivory Order appear. The three brush you aside, fixing their attention on Vince. "So you are the one who disturbs the peace," they exclaim, then charge at him. "The Ivory Order and that false justice they serve are the true evil here," he retaliates, fighting back. Seeing the two parties occupied with each other, you realize this is your chance to grab Mr. Flobby. Perhaps wary of humans, Mr. Flobby dashes out when you draw near. Vince is on equal footing with the three from the Order. You realize then that he wasn't fighting in earnest against you earlier. Engrossed in their battle, the combatants pay you no mind. When you reach out to grab Mr. Flobby, he suddenly attacks. Lower Mr. Flobby's stamina to calm him down. Exhausted from the fight, the raging Mr. Flobby finally stops attacking. But it seems he hasn't yet come to his senses. He glares warily at your party. Find something to help return Mr. Flobby to normal. You wipe Mr. Flobby's mouth with the handkerchief you received from the girl. Then you hear a quiet voice speak. "That's not my mouth," Mr. Flobby murmurs bashfully. It looks like the girl's familiar scent on the handkerchief returned him to normal. Having regained his senses, Mr. Flobby heads back to the village. You place the increasingly sticky handkerchief in your bag. Lappy approaches and tells you that Mr. Flobby has returned. The girl is ecstatic that Mr. Flobby is finally back home. "I'm happy for you," Melanie says with a smile as she returns the handkerchief. The girl bows her head and thanks you deeply. Mr. Flobby looks as slimy as ever. You just hope it's a happy slime. The headman wants us to bring Mr. Flobby to him. Would you mind, you ask? Of course not, but bring him back soon, she answers with a bright smile. I am so happy to see you safe and sound, the headman exclaims, giving Mr. Flobby a hug. You explain everything that happened, including the incident with Vince and the Ivory Order. He expresses his relief that the Order will be taking care of the criminal. He then thanks you for your hard work and instructs his stewardess to prepare dinner for your party. You can feel your collective mouths watering at the sight of the lavish meal before you. You, Mar, and Ridis immediately dig in. You aren't sure where you find a moment to breathe among all the feasting. Please, eat to your heart's content, the headman insists with a smile. Once your belly is full, you realize that Mr. Flobby is gone. And then... Room for dessert? The headman asks, offering you a plate of slimy jelly. You feel your stomach churning at the very sight of it. The color strikes you as familiar, and the stickiness sends a shiver down your spine. Is this Mr. Flobby? You ask the headman, your voice trembling in disbelief. The headman looks at you with a plain expression, one that holds no malice. Is that a problem? He questions back. This dish is a masterpiece, he remarks with a light-hearted chuckle as he gazes at the jelly. And I have you brave heroes to thank for it. Had you not brought that slime back, we would not be able to enjoy this exquisite dessert. You move to leave, but the headman stops you. I try to get my meat while it's still young and tender, but at least your pet is very plump, he remarks, licking his lips. He points at Mar and asks, would you consider leaving that creature here with me? Never, you refuse flatly, not bothering to hide your discomfort. Think about it, he entreats, and then... You grab the headman by his lapels, hands trembling in fury. pummel the headman with all your might. Curled up on the ground, the headman groans in pain, but insists that monsters were meant to be eaten. You hug Mar tightly, reassuring him that you will not hand him over to anyone. Mar looks at you with his round eyes and mews softly. You meet eyes with the rest of your party and reach a tacit agreement. Together, you all stand and leave. As you are about to leave the headman's house, though, the old man suddenly charges at you from behind. But Mar, the keener of you two, is quick to block his path. With a crash, Mar and the headman tumble to the ground. From the headman's hand falls a small blade. It clatters to the ground, covered in blood. You take the injured Mar to an inn where you can watch over him. You gaze at the unconscious Mar with concern. Despite the shallow wound, no amount of medicine seems to rouse Mar from the bed. I heard that my friends were in danger, so I came as quickly as I could, Lappy says. As he reaches Mar's bedside, he leans over and licks his wound. "This is what-you-call-it extract," he shouts. He explains that it is a poison extracted from a certain monster. If it enters the body, it drastically reduces one's stamina. Hearing those words, you realize the headman's blade must have been coated in this poison. Mar's condition starts to make sense. "Isn't there anything we can do?" Melanie asks. Lappy's eyes widen in realization before he places his mouth over Mar's wound and begins sucking. He then puts the what-you-call-it extract into a bottle and hands it to you. Lappy says that if you follow the road south of the village, you will reach Shoreland. He tells you to give the extract to the famous nutritionist there. Realizing that you are at fault for this, you don't hesitate to undertake the quest. But this is strange. The extract comes from a monster, so it should have no effect on one, Lappy remarks with a curious tilt of his head. I thought a beast of that size would eat us out of house and home, she remarks, no doubt talking about Mar. You hear a roar in the distance. According to the townsfolk, it is a very recent phenomenon. Rumor in the village has it that it might be the dragon. The man says the fishing industry is usually thriving in their seaside town, but recently nets have been coming up empty. He mentions that even the fishing harbor to the northwest has been suffering from poor hauls of late. A troubled woman tells you that there has been a rise in thefts lately. She speculates the recession to be the cause. She claims that even the cold medicine she always has on hand has disappeared. She narrows her eyes at the crowd, suspecting there is a thief among them, and offers a reward for the return of the medicine. Your ears perk up at the word reward, and you immediately agree to help expose the dirty thief. I can feel the dragon's presence. I must inform Lady Winifred, the knight mutters. You feel impatient, determined not to let the order beat you to it. How may I help you? The proprietress inquires. Will that be all? The proprietress asks. The sign on the door reads, "The Great Nutritionist Oreo." You open the door without knocking. "Is anyone home?" you call. A muscular man emerges from the back. You politely ask if he is the nutritionist. "Indeed, I am the nutritionist Oreo," he answers. He says he has been studying dietetics here for many years. You hand Oreo the extract and explain that your comrade is now bedridden because of it. He stares at the extract for a long time, and then opens the bottle and laps at the liquid inside. "That's poison!" Melanie shouts in alarm. The man insists that he'll be fine with his expertise of nutrition. and insists that knowledge is power, as if that will help somehow. Regardless, it seems he managed to grasp the composition of the poison with that lick, and starts concocting a nutritional supplement to counter it. However, he says he needs a spry fish, which has been difficult to catch lately. He needs a special fish to make the necessary supplement. When he explains that you can catch one in the surrounding sea, Riddis confidently interjects. She shows you a page from her ancient tome, which explains the ecology of the fish in detail. That book comes in handy from time to time, Melanie remarks in surprise. Oreo gasps as if remembering something. He says that his son went out fishing and, with a bit of luck, may have already caught a spry fish. It sounds like his son is fishing on the wharf. You decide to go find him. You approach a woman sneaking around in a corner of town. Hearing your voice, she turns in surprise. You see a vial of cold medicine clutched in her hands. You explain that the person she stole it from needs it back. The woman begins to explain her own situation with downcast eyes. My poor little boy is bedridden, she says tearfully. He needs medicine, but I don't have any money, so I took it. No matter the reason, theft is wrong. You ignore her excuses and take the medicine from her. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, my boy, she whispers, her voice breaking with tears as she totters away. You feel bad for her and her child, but know you must return the medicine to its rightful owner. Now to receive your reward. The woman thanks you for returning the medicine and bestows you with a reward. Unsure if you made the right choice, you return to your journey with a heavy heart. You see a young man with his line in the water and call out to him. He turns around and flexes, shouting out suddenly, "Power is power." You stare, enchanted by his bulging musculature. There is no doubt in your mind that this is Oreo's son. He asks if you have business with him. Though you are pretty sure of the answer, you ask the young man if he is the nutritionist's son. That I am, he answers. He introduces himself as Bruno and says he is learning to be a nutritionist like his father. You introduce yourself, expressing to him that you are a hero on a journey and require a spry fish to save your ill comrade. His eyes begin to sparkle the moment you utter the word hero, and he becomes engrossed in your tale. More or less grasping the situation, he regrets to inform you that he has not caught any spry fish yet. He says that a monster has settled near their town, and its thundering roars have scared most of the fish away. You know Oreo needs a spry fish to make that supplement. Hearing the despair in your voice, Bruno speaks, his words like an ember in the dark. He tells you that there is a harbor near town where fishermen gather. Perhaps you can find the fish you seek there. You thank him for the information, then head to the harbor with your comrades. Just as you are about to leave, Bruno offers to escort you there. Is it a reward you're after? You are about to ask, but Melanie smacks you on the head before you can voice it and allows him to come along. Bruno looks ecstatic that he was allowed to join your party. When you ask him why, he tells you that his dream is to be an adventurer and has thus been training every day. But his father, famed in the world of nutrition, forced him into following in his footsteps. One desires strength, the other knowledge. Unable to see eye to eye, the two fight nearly every day. What will you ask Bruno? You ask Bruno about his sword arm, saying you are something of a swordsman yourself. Bruno replies that he specializes in hand-to-hand combat, then flexes his bulging biceps as proof. Apparently, he only carries around a sword to look like an adventurer. Curious about his attire, you ask why he does not wear armor. He confessed that he once wished for armor, but deemed it unnecessary after gaining so much muscle. In that moment, you realize something. While his passion for being an adventurer is true, he is dumber than a sack of rocks. The words "birds of a feather flock together" run through your mind, but you quickly chase them away, afraid of what that means for you. You toss the janky telescope aside and creep forward as silently as you can. You catch sight of a pack of monsters. You may be able to attack before you lose the element of surprise. You ready your weapon. The noise alerts your foe, but that shouldn't be a problem, right? You did great. You put away your weapon and wipe the sweat from your brow, returning to your adventure as if nothing happened. He has been fishing for several days, having decided not to return home empty-handed. He hopes his wife and child back in Shoreland are well. The woman says she has been waiting here for days, worried about her husband, who has yet to return. Lately, a monstrous roar has been disturbing the seas and scaring away all the fish. He sighs, lamenting that his catches have been poor as a result. A rough-tempered piscator stands there, having just returned from fishing. Mars' fate rests upon this man's haul. Terrible, he says, showing you the few fish he's caught. Inside you see a spry fish, Bruno shouts. You ask him if you can have the spry fish, but he says he won't give it up for free. When you ask how much it will cost, he gives the absurd price of 1 million gold pieces. You're heartless, Ridis pouts. The man is enraged by the rude response. Just then, Bruno prances forth and shouts, "Stop right there!" Your fisherman muscles are simply sublime, he exclaims. He challenges the man to a competition of muscles with the spry fish as the prize. The piscator seems interested and agrees on one condition. If you lose, you must become my servant. This one's all yours, Melanie says, patting you on the shoulder. Then let the carnival of might and muscles begin, Bruno roars, completely fired up. Your puny body is no match for mine, the piscator shouts back, throwing a punch. A battle of beefiness. Looking ripped. You're doing great. His victory sealed, Bruno strikes a glorious pose and shouts out, "Witness the power of power." Defeated, the Piscator hands over the spry fish to Bruno. Bruno extends a hand to the Piscator, who has fallen to his knees. With a serene smile, he takes the offered hand. An unspoken friendship begins to form between the two. Or at least, you hope that's what the prolonged silence between them means. With the spry fish in hand, you head back towards Oreo's clinic. Bruno looks at your group sadly, reluctant for this little adventure to end. You hand the fish to Oreo and ask him to make you the supplement. "Give me a moment," he says, then takes the fish and heads into the back. "It's ready," he says, emerging from his room and handing you a bottle. You hope this will get Mar back on his feet. You need to get back to Unionville on the double. But before that... You wordlessly extend a hand to Bruno. Bruno takes your hand and gives it a firm shake. You can feel the bones in your hands splintering. You just hope Bruno has enough self-restraint not to shatter them completely. You make a mental note never to shake hands with him again, then turn to leave. But Bruno stops you and says he wants to journey with you just a little longer. But Oreo is quick to douse the flames of his desire. You will stay here and study, he commands. Then you leave me no choice. Bruno's expression reads as he raises both hands behind his head and squats at hyperspeed. I want to show this power to the world, Bruno proclaims to his father. You have much to learn, my son, Oreo retorts as he starts sidestepping at breakneck speed. Only the sound of their labored breathing and bodies moving resonates through the otherwise silent room. You can only look on in stunned silence at the enigmatic display. Bruno falls to his knees, panting. This is my limit. You have grown, my son, Oreo says, looking no worse for wear. So are you coming with us or not? Melanie interjects, ever the blunt one. Only our muscles know the answer, comes Bruno's cryptic reply. I don't get it, Ridis remarks frankly. On the condition that he study nutrition upon his return, Bruno is allowed to go with you for just a little while longer. You realize that these two have a very special way of talking that no one else can understand. Hearing yet another roar in the distance, you realize you need to get the supplement to Mar so you can investigate the sound together.